I'd like to welcome you to class today. If you are learning from home because of a COVID situation or another situation, today we have a lot of assignments coming in, plus we're beginning a new unit. And hopefully this slide presentation and this video presentation will help you navigate where to put things to keep up in class. So for the first thing, you'll notice from our agenda for today that I will cover 4 different parts in this mini lesson that I'm uploading for you. The first one will be what we do with all the assignments that are coming in from Unit 3. I will introduce our last learning log unit and what that is. Then I'm going to show you your next notebook activity. And finally, we're going to be watching a movie entitled Nobody Don't Love, or Beyond the Blackboard. It's spin off of a book, Nobody Don't Love Nobody. So first off, then, all of the assignments that are due. Remember that there are 4 parts of your interview assignment. So this is a submit to the basket assignment. So each of those parts need to be in the order that it shows on your interview sheet. You will print those 4 sections off. The first one, again, is who you interviewed, what the credentials are, why you picked them. The second one, a list of your questions that you asked in the interview. The third one is the permission form that you needed to have them fill out. And then finally, the last one is a 2-page reflection of what you learned about your topic from your interview assignment. So that all needs to be stapled together. Remember, it goes down as a 50-point test score, so it's like half of a major paper. And then notebook number 5 is an infographic. So that needs to be in 2 places. Of course, it needs to be put in your report, but it also needs to be uploaded with your other notebook activities on your ePortfolio website. Then the actual essay itself needs to be submitted into Turnitin. If you remember from our previous lesson, I had you submit a draft version of your report to Turnitin. Just know that after midnight tonight, that I will assume that the report that is on your Turnitin site is the final one. So don't submit something later, or most of you, again, already have a rough draft on there, and I don't want to be grading your rough drafts, and I'm not going to grade them twice. So make sure your final report is uploaded tonight. And then also that report needs to be uploaded to your major section of your English 2010 page on your ePortfolio. Then remember, we completed a business letter to the individual that you interviewed. That needs to be printed, that business letter, and signed. Remember, it's a 0 or 20 points as a test score because you cannot have any errors in that letter since we are mailing them. And then finally, your learning log number 3 assignment that is uploaded to your website so that I can grade it as well. So lots of things that we have finished the last for Unit 3. So this leads into our final learning log activity that we'll be doing at the beginning of class. This is a multimedia unit, and so what our learning logs will be, we'll be learning about different forms of multimedia at the beginning of each class. And each day I'm going to give you some form of multimedia to watch. So today you will notice that, and it will be on the next slide, but I'm including 3 different multimedia compositions for you to watch. And as you watch them, you're going to respond with the 2 questions on this slide. Identify the components of each composition. For example, are they using sound? Are they using movies? Are they using stilled images? Are they using voiceovers? What are the different things that you're finding that they're packaging together as one product in each of the 3 multimedia selections for today. And then the second one is, after you've watched each selection, I would like you to identify the effectiveness of that multimedia project. Why did you like it? For most of these are going to be really good. So what made the package that was put together a good learning tool for the audience that it was intended to be produced for? So here are the links to the 3 multimedia projects that you will be watching. The first one was put out by the New York Times, and it's entitled 1 in 8 Million Series. So click on that link and watch it. The second one is part of CBS Sunday Morning's projects that they do each week, and this is one from a week ago. Michael J. Fox and his pal Gus. Gus is his dog. So I want you to watch that. And the final one is actually 40 minutes long. So of course you're not going to watch it all, but I picked this one because it is a really good informational piece on the Spanish flu of about 100 years ago. And since we've been going through this COVID world this last year and almost a year and a half now, that I want you to see some similarities with and some differences, and then how they would share information back during that time period about that deadly flu. So do not watch all 40 minutes of it, but I found myself watching quite a bit because I just kind of a fascinating topic. So watch 5 to 10 minutes and then respond to that one. Which then leads us into our next notebook activity. This assignment will be posted in Canvas today and is due 1 week from today on your English website. So it's going to be a fact sheet. And here is some of the requirements of a fact sheet. You are going to compile visually a whole bunch of information about your topic in one place. And so it is not as, well, it has more parts than your infographic. Your infographic was just one set of information on something that you put into the infographic. This is going to be a lot of things, but you're going to compile it into one 8.5 by 11 Google Docs paper. And what I'm looking for with the fact sheet, then I'll show you some examples in just a second, is whether or not the information is informational, that everything on the fact sheet is a fact, there's no interpretation, that you use subtopics and bullets and color in order to help the reader navigate through it. So this is kind of a visual graphic design exercise. And finally, you need to put your name and your fictional nonprofit company on this page because I want to make sure it's your fact sheet and not somebody else's. So I listed here some problems that people get into fact sheets, that there are too many facts when there's too much on the page that you can't see anything. Sometimes we say the same thing twice, that the facts are in, there's no organizational structure to the information, and you don't want just a long list. So you can see the one on Mississippi to the left of the slide is a good example of something that I would like you to do. So here are some examples of fact sheets, and you'll notice the first one deals with a specific type of jet. The next one deals with a pharmaceutical company, and then dental health. So I will share with you a couple in class, or I am sharing a couple in class. I'll try to get a few uploaded for those of you who are not with us today as additional resources in our Canvas lesson. So then what we're going to do is begin our next or final unit. This one deals with multimedia, multimodal, alternate ways of using information in an alternative way. So you're not going to really create anything new with this one, because you're going to take what you've done in your report and or in your profile. So one of the things that you've done so far relating to your subject, but present it in a multimedia fashion. So for the first 3 days of class, we will be learning different types of multimedia, and then you will select one for your final major, well, kind of your final major project. You're also going to be revising your website. So to do that, in class I shared an example of the story of Little Red Riding Hood. So most of you are familiar with this children's story. If you click on these 3 versions, you're going to see completely different types of the same story. The first one, when you click on it, version 1, will delve into some of the critical theories of literature and this book, and show you how you can think in a different perspective with this children's book, depending on the different critical theory that you're looking at. The second one is kind of a fascinating video, and it's, of course, a different genre and form of Little Red Riding Hood, and so I want you to watch it. And the third one ties into the history of this, and it's on the next slide, so it's more of a slide rather than multiple forms, but where this story originated from. And so this third one is right here, and it talks about folk tales. In order to understand this one, you will need to read the accompanying notes in right underneath this slide to help you get sense of that. So that is taking a children's book and turning it into 3 completely different forms of the same thing. This slide goes over the legalities of changing something that is produced in a different format. For example, when people take Little Red Riding Hood and turn it into something, the same story but in a different way, how legal is it? And I think this is important for us to, or for you to understand as you adapt anything that's been created already and so that has copyrights on it. So I want you to watch this video. It's kind of a really informative video. It will take you to a page, and you just need to scroll down to the part where it shows some remix of some famous things in pop culture and how they have had to have permission to recreate it in a different way. The final thing that we are doing in class today is we're going to begin watching a movie for the majority of class, and we will continue with that movie on Wednesday. And to do that, I picked a topic of homelessness. And with that, there is a former teacher from Utah, and her name is Stacy Bess. I put her picture here on this page. There are 2 links on this slide that gives you some background to her. Stacy Bess won the National Teacher of the Year Award, and it's kind of cool because she's grew up in Salt Lake Valley and began her teaching career here in the Salt Lake Valley. So her first teaching assignment was at a school with no name, and basically a school under the 6 South Viaducts where homeless kids lived. And from that experience, she wrote this book called Nobody Don't Love Nobody. Beautiful book. Then from that point, Hollywood learned of her story and turned it into a movie. And in 2011, Hallmark released this movie. It's called Beyond the Blackboard. And we're going to begin watching it today and seeing how the same story of her story that she published in a book, how they altered it for film version, which fits, again, multimedia. There is an accompanying handout that goes along with it, and I will get that uploaded during second period if you watch this before second period on Monday morning. So that's our lesson for today. Good luck. Thank you.